I am a founder of Vesteck and the CEO. Johnny Doga, who's a surgeon, general surgeon when general surgeons were the top of the pyramid, and Terry Richard, a cardiothoracic surgeon from Paris, came to me with an idea about a problem. And frankly, it was a problem that I had no idea was as severe as it was. They suggested that when these endovascular aortic replacement grafts get placed, the aorta continues to dilate and the grafts move and they leak. And I've been in the cardiovascular business for 30 years, the aortic repair space, et cetera. And I had no idea. So I was able to make some phone calls to physicians that I've known, vascular surgeons, cardiothoracic surgeons that I've known for years, and ask them, is this really a problem? And the feedback was a resounding, you have no idea how big the problem is, but also how complex it is to repair. If a patient is diagnosed with an aortic aneurysm, they have two therapeutic options. One is open surgical repair, which is a very durable procedure, but if the patient gets on the table with any comorbidities, they've got an almost 20% chance of having perioperative mortality. So it's somewhat dangerous if you get on. 80% of the patients around the world that are diagnosed with aortic aneurysms elect an endovascular approach. Physician creates two small holes in the groin, the femoral arteries, puts in guide wires and sheaths, and through those sheaths and guide wires, they deliver a stent graft inside the aortic aneurysm. It basically excludes blood flow from the aneurysm. Seems like a great idea, and it is, because the patients go home in a day or so. The challenge is the aorta itself continues to dilate. The only thing holding these grafts in place is maybe a centimeter or two of tissue, but the graft continues to push on that. And if you remember, we talked about that elastin to collagen transition. Patients get older, the aorta continues to dilate. What happens is then the graft leaks. The area between the wall of the graft and the aorta leaks, and you get blood back into the aneurysm, and now it's repressurized. So for patients, if we can secure that graft at the time it's implanted and not have to worry about leaks, they don't have to come back 2, 3, 5, 10 years later for a very complex, expensive repair procedure. If I was 65 and having that initial procedure done, coming back at 70 or 75, I'm never healthier, okay? And so it's quite a challenge. Economically, it's quite expensive. Over in the UK, they shut down younger patients from getting these grafts because they knew they're a single-payer healthcare system. They knew they were not only going to do the initial implant costs, be responsible for it, but in 2, 3, 5 years, they were going to have another expense, very large one, for a repair. So if we can prophylactically put the graft in, we go over the very same guide wire, we go through the same sheath, it's very fast. One physician down in Australia, his very first case delivered 4 sutures in 4 minutes. So speed is not the issue, but accuracy and proper placement. But it was very easy for that physician to do it very quickly. So the payers are going to save maybe $1 billion a year in cost avoidance for all these additional procedures. From an investor standpoint, and I kind of chuckle, what does Medtronic, Boston Scientific, and Sofinnova have in common just in the recent months? They've all placed very significant bets, like hundreds of millions of dollars in bets on the aortic repair space. Medtronic just funded 3 big studies with their graft and their endoanchor. Boston just invested in a chemical to stop that transition from elastin to collagen. And Sofinnova has got arguably a competitor to us that they've invested in, because the baby boomers, the patient population is getting older across the world. Obesity, sedentary, there's still 23% of the world still smokes. And the screening for this disease is lower cost and more available. So we're being able to, physicians are able to diagnose more and more of these patients. We are targeting the U.S. market first, and we have plans to expand into Australia, New Zealand. Japan wants us there already, and we'll get to the EU. In fact, we've had 5 pre-submission meetings with FDA. They've looked at our clinical protocol, et cetera. We know it's a 510K. We're going to do 50 patients. We only have to do 100 patients and follow them for 12 months. We'll do 50 patients down in Australia. We've got our LLC down there. There is a rebate. It's an R&D investment rebate where they're giving you the money back of 43.7% back, and then additionally the exchange rate. So we spend $1, and it really costs us about 26 cents. So we'll do half of our cases in Australia. The FDA says that's fine, and then we'll do the other half of the cases here in the U.S. Both of those case volumes or case studies can be used over in Europe for our EU clinical trial, and also Japan. Japan would also like to see the FDA work done and then embrace that. So it is a global problem. It really is. The home office is Westchester, Pennsylvania, just a short ride outside of Philadelphia. Our manufacturing and R&D and our engineering team, Ted Wolfman is our CTO, Ken Stalker, our COO. They're in the Carlsbad area, so just half an hour or so north of San Diego. And we leverage that because there are a lot of ACS, Guidon, Abbott engineers and manufacturing skill sets down there that we can leverage for our own R&D. We've got our own clean room. I tease the guys that they've got an engineering playground there. Our ability to develop devices is really second to none. And Kent and Ted have got a reputation for knocking off milestones and keeping everything on time and moving forward. Our goals right now are to raise $16 million. We've got a number of committed investors. We're looking for a lead investor that wants to write the term sheet. The $16 million will go towards this 100-patient clinical trial. We'll manufacture our own devices. The design is frozen, and we'll do 50% of the cases down in Australia and the other 50 up here. The device itself can be used to do arguably from the iliac arteries all the way up into the aortic valve. When physicians see this device, they immediately want to take it to TEVAR and secure the aortic valves that have been implanted percutaneously with our suture. But then additionally, we'll have sutures for the entire aortic arch and all the way down to the iliac limbs. That's a modification of this same platform. Physicians want to take it to the esophageal varices in the esophagus when they have to put a graft in there, and some other venous applications. May-Thurner's disease is a big issue right now, and physicians want to suture these stents in place. Those are the expansions to the same platform, and arguably one of the real bonuses to making an investment in Vesteck is that we've got an R&D team that really can embrace taking something from a concept, a napkin drawing, to the clinical setting. We have already implanted in 15, they call them preclinical cases. We've done 14 human cases, first in human cases in Latvia, Canada, and Australia. All 14 patients are doing famously well, 6 months out and 12 months out. No migration, no leaks, no embolization or stent fractures. So we're really pleased with the fact that we've de-risked it. We've got 5 patents on the entire system, 3 brand new ones. We use Cooley, which arguably is as good as there is in the world. And as I said, we've had 5 different pre-sub meetings with FDA. We know what they expect. They know what we're planning. They've seen our clinical protocol. So we've really de-risked this quite a bit by way of achieving those milestones. The patient population is getting older. There are some really bright people at Medtronic, Boston Scientific, Sofinova. They've placed some big bets because this market is in need of some new tools. The top physicians in the centers that are doing the most volume and the most complex volume, they're on our advisory board. They're telling us, get this device through FDA and get it into the market. Patients need it, physicians need it, and payers need it.